Hey, good morning. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a good start to your day. We're going to break down quite a few stocks, so let's get into it really fast. First, we're looking at Tesla. What I like about Tesla is it's continuing its trend. A lot of stocks have broke their trends and have keep coming down. Now, that's the 180-day moving average if you're wondering which one I'm using on the chart, and exponential moving average, and we're still holding above. Now, yesterday's price action told me that this was strong. Everything else was selling off. We spiked up into this 742 level, and we did get a nice little sell-off on this. However, we did hold. Now we're gapping above, and we're finding it as a support. This is the thing. When we were looking at this area right here, Tesla, we were holding this quite nicely. We gapped underneath it, and then we got the sell off, the panic sell, and then we got picked right back up. Now we're fighting this area where all the panic happened. Okay, now I don't care what kind of strategy you're trying to trade, or whose strategy you're copying, or what you think is attractive in the market. If you don't know the technicals, you're going to have a tough time with any and all strategies. Okay, so making sure that you understand the psychology in the market is critical. Understanding that this area was a lot of buyers. We gapped underneath that area, causing the sell-off to happen. That means that there are people in this price range of $750 that need a rescue mission. Meaning when this stock cruises on up here, you'll most likely find some sellers there. Now, we can, Tesla's usually always in the news. That really helps, but don't expect when it gets back up here to these highs, don't be a buyer where there are sellers. Okay, so that would be what we're looking for on Tesla. Sellers right here, and we have some sellers coming in here roughly, and it's going to struggle to get past this high of this other prior candlestick. So something to be kind of watching out for. You could definitely be grabbing. This is going to be the area that's going to play in. Okay, so if it comes up here, gets above this area and holds it, and you're finding a retest, some nice big candlesticks coming in, squeezes above, then it comes down and it holds this, maybe gets you a wick. Well, now it's possibly going to the upside. Okay, and so you will find something, and we can snap something here. There's an indecision bar here, very important. A lot of indecision. And then anytime you, on this red candle, the 50%, you're going to have some clutter up in here too. I'm going to paint that just a different color just so I'm aware that maybe around that 50% area on the chart that there is some selling pressure, particularly, or some type of line of resistance. Okay, moving on to Uber. Uber did very well on their Q3, and it looks like it's continuing. So what we're interested on Uber, and let's get into that, is if it breaks this. Now, this is a zone. I do play zones as well, which I like to be aware of. And what I mean by zones is this is where a lot of buyers came in on Uber, as in big investors, to prop this stock up. It did take a while to get through it, and so we just want to be aware that this is an area for sure on Uber that does have some significance to it. We can see a lot of back and forth action here. Before the failure, we see that it got bought back up a couple different times, and this is if we go down to even bigger time frames, but you know, cruising right up into that area, depending on how much buying pressure there is, I would be actually looking for a continuation on Uber. It is extended. Pay attention. So getting a pullback would definitely be something we could be looking for. But this little indecision bar, that's definitely an area of interest. If it starts to pull back, I will be paying attention to that area in the charts. And if it goes to fail, that's no big deal. You just go ahead and get out of it at that time. Now, looking at a weekly time frame, what makes this significant and what I like about it, let's actually look at the daily first. That'll make a little bit more sense. Look at all these pivots. Talking about psychology again and understanding where you're at on the charts. That's nothing but sellers up here holding this stock down. Quite some bearish sentiment. And then we gap over several day pivots. This would be considered a gap and go because it is, a retest gap because the sentiment prior to this was green, right? Lots of buyers coming in. So it gaps above, and then we do expect some type of selling pressure because they are happy if they held their position here. So selling pressure when they're taking profit causes the stock to come down. So we just want to be aware of that. However, a lot more sellers, as in short sellers, buying. So you have two sides of buying pressure. Lots of buy side pressure causing the stock to move up. And so I would actually be expecting that same continuation move. If we continue to squeeze past this 448, 445 level, excuse me, then we could continue to get an up move. And we do have a gap up here to fill as well. Gaps are critical and important, not just because it's a gap. Hey, let's fill the gap. It's because the market makers found that area on the price chart to be interesting. So they went ahead and grabbed it. Again, buy zone area we're talking about. And we gap right into that buy zone where we had a lot of buyers step up, Okay, so just understanding the charts. Now, if you're finding this stuff to be useful and you want to understand the technicals and really become good at reading charts, then subscribe to the channel. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, the next one in line is Dkng. We found it on the daily chart to be interesting for a good dip buy here. This would be like the zone scenario that I'm paying attention to. Stops under 50.81 roughly for me. This is where we had some resistance. This is where we found the support, gave us that little curve pattern, and up to the races we went. And then roughly 52.19 is what we talked about yesterday as holding. Currently, I do like what it's doing. It's kind of giving us another curve pattern, but I am interested once it starts to make higher highs and lower highs, right? Or higher lows. So that's what we're looking for on, but these are the areas that I'm paying attention to. These are the critical areas in the chart that it needs to start holding above. Then we can take a position on Dkng. Roku down. It's been kind of on that trend down, been hurting. A lot of sell side pressure on Roku, and we're grabbing that 9-day moving average and finding it hard to get over. So there is this indecision bar top on the daily time frame. That's definitely going to be a key area. We're having a tough time getting past this gap, which is another issue on the charts, which you're going to see when we go down to a lower time frame, that those are the areas that we're kind of battling. And so we want to just be aware of those areas and then understand that we are low on the chart. I think we are finding some buyers that are being attracted to this stock now. And so let's just start watching it. Let's see how it kind of ebbs and flows. You don't need to be the first one to the party. This thing has got a lot of room for a recovery, and we can understand that these areas, I'd be grabbing this right here. I want to see how it reacts around this. The 324, roughly around 325 to 322, I'm very interested in, and I want to see what it does around that area, and then I can start basing a trade. Now, if it starts to break down again, then I'm just not interested. We're going to wait for it to come down to lower prices so we can have a better understanding. But I like the way this EMA is basing out. It looks like it may want to get up here and get a little supercharged. Now, DIS, we went into DIS a little while ago. We talked about DIS on this particular day, that it was up there a little bit, and we started to expect a downward move. Now, we shorted or tried to short, never gave us an entry all the way up to here once it started actually failing this flag pattern, which is a complete bummer. Missed the entire move to the downside. Is once it gets down here, it barely misses our buy target, and then we don't get to participate on the upside. We had the alert there, missed my alert completely, and that's the way it is sometimes. But just notice, this was the line in the sand that we talked about. And you can go back to prior videos where I talk about Disney. This right here, this yellow line or gold line, that was the line of the sand that they gapped it under. Very important level for Disney at that time, which caused the big sell-off, right? Notice where the retest happened. Once again, lots of buying pressure coming off of here. That, my friends, is the rescue mission. Okay, And that's where people are looking now to whoever bought over here and did not get out of their position right here because they were down too much money, too much pain. They're now looking at trying to sell. This is the area that they all got out of, and they decide to take off. Okay, and so it causes lots of selling pressure. Now there's something that came out. I read this article. There was nothing critical and like they just went on and started talking about they got interviewed and stuff like that. There wasn't anything like standing out to me that really should have made the big sell-off. So I'm not really sure what happened. Didn't really do a whole lot of research, but definitely Disney kind of took a hit. So PTON. It's a little bit on our radar. We want to pay attention to it. I was hoping for cheaper prices as a gap down here that I could really get behind. Now, if it just holds, it's no big deal. Pay attention to this area in the chart. We're going to grab this pattern again, see how it handles and reacts around these levels, and then this area right here is also going to be very critical for PTON. If it gets above there, we may start to actually have this trend up scenario. It is already making some higher lows, which is terrific, but it needs to make the higher highs. It's not making higher highs. It's still making lower highs, causing the stock to either be in this little bit of a squeeze formation to break on down, or if we can start breaking above some of these higher pivots, then it can possibly be on an uptrend. So just watching it. A lot of stocks are in watch, but you do have critical areas like on your Uber, your DraftKings, watch Roku. Tesla is right around some certain areas. So they're just some stocks that I'll be watching and checking out. And we'll go from there. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you can be updated when we're coming out with different stocks or looking at certain areas in the chart that we find to be critical and important. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.